We are losing our May sub battle against Eagles now. We've got 760 subs. We've got 993. We're running out of time. We need your help to catch up to them. If you are among the 50% or so who watch us but don't subscribe, it's kind of weird, change that. Hit that sub button for me right now. Running through some trade rumors, ideas, suggestions, theories, etc. that we've come across in the past couple days here. First up, oh look, it's another Trey Lance trade idea. Yeah, these are literally not going to stop. And if Lance plays well in the preseason, they're going to get even louder, which I hope he does play well because it would otherwise you really kind of wasted a 4th round pick. Fansided had this trade idea. Raiders get Trey Lance. Cowboys get a 5th and a 7th round pick. So what is most notable about this to me is that flipping Lance for a 5th and a future 7th, okay, whatever in the pictures. They got to get 2 day 3 picks back. A future 7, who cares? You can't even give me a 7th rounder this year? Whatever. Not a great return on your investment. You flip him for a 4th, pay him some money, and then get a 5th and a 7th back later. Bad value. It was also pitched, by the way, of like, look at what Mike McCarthy's saying about Trey Lance. He's going to be good. The Raiders are going to buy that hype and trade for him. So they're buying the hype, and Dallas gets less than what they traded. I don't really see how that makes sense for Dallas. And like, if the theory is Lance is good, therefore the Raiders want to trade for him, and the Cowboys get a bad package, the math ain't mathing for me on that front. And we also, by the way, don't know if Lance is good. Sub 55% completion rate in his career, offers some dual threat running ability. That's great. I am very excited to see how he plays in the preseason. It's a massive preseason for him to prove that he can be a NFL caliber quarterback, if not a starter, at least a backup. Right now, we don't really know where things sit there. And I get the fans that are like, oh, the Raiders need a quarterback. Yeah, they got Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Which, like, from an investment standpoint, I said earlier this year, think of Aiden O'Connell and Trey Lance as the same. They were 4th round picks or late 4th round picks / 5th round picks if you want to value the draft capital for Lance, whatever. I don't think he played very well last year as a starter. He's a backup. Gardner Minshew is... Minshew kind of led the league in hospital balls last year. There's a great metric I saw of like on-target throws versus catchable throws. And looks like catchable, on target where it needs to be. By the way, Dak led the NFL in both, by the way. The haters are in shambles. Minshew was near the top in catchable balls and not very high on the on-target throws because they were hospital balls, which is not where you want to be on that front. Anyway, what would you do with Trey Lance? Type T for trade or K for keep. It's the pinned comment on today's video. The ad comes here on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Another name we've seen linked many a time in various trade rumors is Dameon Pierce, the Texans running back. I maintain I'm not sure he's available, but all of the running backs are going to be linked to this organization because this is not a good running back room. Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, Royce Freeman, Malik Davis, Snoop Connor, and Hunter Lipke, fullback, and Nate Pete. It's not good. It's a bad running back room. And there's not a lot of explosiveness either. Dameon Pierce, because the Texans paid big money to Jim, which, by the way, I kind of thought was a mistake. I didn't really get that move for them. Pierce was very good as a rookie. 4.3 yards per carry on a pretty high volume. The success rate was pretty good. And then this year he kind of stunk. 145 carries, 416 yards. That's under 3 yards a carry. And I've often said, look, we can blame supporting cast stuff too. That's fine. But, when the other running back on the team averages about a yard, over a yard per carry more, the success rate is substantially higher. None of those things give me confidence. Like, yes, this is going to be good. But it was 1 year. He was good the year before. He's young. I think I'm okay gambling on that in terms of having more success. I don't think Houston trades him, though. It's Joe Mixon, who's going to be in a committee. Pierce, Ogunbowale is almost a kicker, which he did do some of that, by the way. Jawar Jordan is like the other Louisville back. I'd be a little surprised if Houston flipped him. Now, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the flex play. You don't have to get every single Prize Picks selection that you do correct. You can get 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, 2 out of 3, whatever. Lower payout, better chance coming out on top. Here's my NFL season-long Prize Picks. I'm doing the flex play, and it's more thans across the board for Mahomes and Dak passing yards, Lamb catches for scores, Micah sacks, because all 4 of those numbers are lower, sometimes substantially lower, than what they put up last year because there's the injury risk involved there. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Another running back on here, Miles Sanders. Now, this one came in from fantasy and bio people, which I don't want to be mean, but sometimes it's just when there's a bad take on Twitter, it's almost always fantasy and bio person. Miles Sanders, though, is a name to at least have a conversation about. He was terrible last year for Carolina. I made the comment like, hey, if there are 2 backs and one plays well and one doesn't, that might be the other back problem. Miles Sanders had his numbers fall off a cliff. Yards per carry dropped by over 1.5. His success rate dropped from 50%, which is elite numbers there, all the way down to 40.3. None of those numbers were good. He was truly one of the worst running backs in football. I don't know what happened. Maybe he is a pure product of the offensive line because he was great in Philadelphia, highly efficient, super successful, and then a dumpster fire in a really bad situation in Carolina, but Chuba Hubbard outplayed him. So those are things that I'm going, okay, how do you figure that out? How do you balance that act overall? Should be player card, by the way, for Sam. How do you figure that out with where things sit? The biggest issue for me is the money. The money is a huge problem for Dallas and Miles Sanders. He's due $4.4 million this upcoming season. Like that's not good. You can't I can't pay Sanders that much money with as bad as he played last year. So if he gets cut after June 1st or Carolina eats more of the money, which maybe is possible, I would have some interest. But trading for 1 year and promising him $4.4 million when he averaged that little, I'm not interested. So pick one to trade for. DP for Dameon Pierce, MS for Miles Sanders. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section of today's show. Brandin Cooks. Here we go again. It's Bleacher Report once again trying to screw the Cowboys with their trade ideas. Here's what they suggested. The major reason behind the lack of moves for the Cowboys is the tight cap situation. They are currently 29th in salary and available caps, which is with just $1.9 million in room. They're going to have to make some moves just to create enough caps to have an emergency fund during the season. The lack of cash has limited them in how many players they could even retain. This is all self-inflicted. This is a self-inflicted problem for Dallas. Dallas can make salary cap space if they want to. Again, they left $40 million on the table by not paying Dak Prescott, not restructuring Trayvon Diggs, and not extending CeeDee Lamb. They could have had money if they wanted to. They chose not to. I want to make that clear. Also from Bleacher Report, one way they could open quite a bit of room right now is to trade away Brandin Cooks. Doing it after June 1st would save $8 million against the cap this season. This would be a hard sell for fans who watch a lot of talent, but it could open up more possibilities to add a late free agent or make another trade. So why am I trading away a good player to get a worse player on my team? Because they're the ones who also pitched Dameon Pierce, and I got to get to here in a second. By the way, the Cowboys free up $9.5 million in less than a week. June 1st, Gallup's cap hit comes off the book. He becomes an official post-June 1st cut from a roster cap accounting perspective. All of a sudden, I 9 times my salary cap space. Oh, look at me go. That just by doing nothing. So what are we doing out here? I don't need to trade players to make cap space. By the way, if you trade Brandin Cooks, you don't have a wide receiver too. I would love it if Jalen Tolbert came along. It'd be great. Cooks' speed is needed because you need him as a vertical threat too. Like, even his numbers are down, his presence helps more than that, frankly. And by the way, knock on wood, God forbid CeeDee Lamb goes down and you shipped away Brandin Cooks, you're going to try out Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin, and Jalen Brooks. That is a preseason wide receiving core. So no, I'm not trading away my only other proven good wide receiver. If I were tanking, okay, different conversation. If I want to be competitive, I need Cooks on this team. Stupid idea. Another wide receiver, because, it makes sense to trade with one good receiver and get a worse one back, right, from Blue Chip. What was Treylon Burks? Now, this one I am more open to having the conversation on because there is some upside, I believe. Before we get to that, name a player who you want to trade for. Could be Burks, could be a running back, like Herbert. Saw some of those names in the live chat. Sound off in the comment section right now. The issue with Treylon Burks is the fact that he has simply not produced. In fact, he got worse from year 1 to year 2. And the success rates of players whose career figures are, a little bit under barely 650 yards in their career through 2 years, the hit rate's not very good. And it's fairly troubling from that point. But the Cowboys liked him coming out of the NFL draft. You could probably get him for a 5th. You got 4 fifth-round picks, or you're in line to get 4 fifth-round picks next year. It's a worthwhile gamble. In the end, it's not that different than the Trey Lance trade. Play your lights coming out, giving you more depth. Maybe he develops into a piece. Could compete with Jalen Tolbert or somebody for receiver 3 and 4 long term. He's disappointed me, make no mistake about it. But there's upside. And if you send him a day 3 pick, I'd be open to that. I'd probably also rather look for running back help and defensive tackle help, by the way, which is a big, big concern for me.